morning and welcome to beautiful Arizona. This being a Shelby event, we like to have a loud and fun time. And it's another great moment in Shelby history and Barrett-Jackson history. Barrett-Jackson has hosted several vehicle unveils. And for those of you who are not in Palm Beach, we introduced the new Shelby Super Snakes in Palm Beach on the auction block for everybody. And we're so thrilled to be here again, and we thank our friends at Barrett-Jackson for this opportunity to make history. Barrett has a long history of actually introducing some phenomenal vehicles, and I'm sure in January we're going to see a few more. Today we're making history with another couple of Shelby trucks. For those of you who don't know, Carroll Shelby was an avid truck enthusiast. In fact, he owned the very first Bronco. He loved to go off-roading and enjoyed, especially in West Texas, going fast in trucks. He put a V10 in a Viper motor actually in one of the Dodge trucks years ago and helped pioneer that whole move into muscle trucks. But today we're here to talk about two new fabulous vehicles. We put a news release out on Wednesday. If you're a member of the press, my name's Scott Black. I'd be glad to introduce you to Gary Patterson, get some of your own quotes, and talk about you coming to Las Vegas and checking out these new fabulous vehicles. We have several people from the Shelby team here today. We have Cash C, who is the Director of Marketing and Sales. We have Tim Pitzenbarger, who's part of the sales team. We have Jeremy Roberts, who is with SPP. And we have Tim Pitzenbarger here, who is part of the sales program. And then, of course, Tim David Heiser, who is our logistics director and brings the vehicle out. So we're glad to have a great group of people who came from Las Vegas just to see you guys. Speaking of that, I'd like to introduce the main person who's going to tell us about this truck. We call him the Director of Fun. You like to call him the President of Shelby American. Please welcome Gary Patterson.
Thanks, Scott. It's like a family reunion here. I'm already looking out at the crowd. I see people that I've known for, let's just say a year or two, right? Or 25 or 30 or whatever. So I've been coming to this thing for a very long time, clear back into the 90s. And what better place to be than Barrett-Jackson in Scottsdale, right? So good. Raptor R. So we've been kind of following this truck for a long time. It's like what these guys at Ford really need to do. The 3.5 EcoBoost is absolutely fabulous. We put a tune in it. We add 100 horsepower to the truck, right? So that makes it 550 horses. That's a really nice truck. I was driving we started that back in 17. 18, I was driving cross country, and I can tell you that I read this on the internet, maybe. I was going across Nebraska and towing at 110 with a Super Snake on the back. So you can do those kinds of things, but I wouldn't recommend it. Anyway, so that truck is fantastic. But a lot of the features that we're going to talk about today about those trucks are also part of the same things that we get on the V8. This particular one is the V8. So it's the first one with the 5.2 liter, and it starts out at 720 horsepower. How many of you guys want 720 horses? Who wants more? Yeah! Okay, you guys are awake, right? So more is well over 900 horsepower. We haven't given you a final number yet, but I know that's a conservative number. On pump gas, 50 state emissions legal, so we make sure that all these trucks go out emissions legal and on pump gas. And I'm not talking about E85, I'm talking about 93 or 91 octane. So we're going to take a look under the hood in just a minute. But before we get that far, why don't you take a look at some of the other features that are here. Completely Shelby spec bumpers. So if you look at this thing, it's a real bad boy. So you get out in the brush or something like that, or you can do things like I've done, like chase cows in the field. You know, it's one thing when you get in the field, you got cows, but when the bull looks at you and goes the other way, that's how you know you got there, right? And you got the big light, so there's a 50-inch LED light on the front, so that lights up your world. Not legal to turn it on the street, but if you want to light things up out in the desert or out in the backcountry, that's the thing to do. We've also got the big light up front. Actually, the one in the front's 30. That one's a 50-incher that's in the back, and that one folds up because some of the parking garages this still fits in, and you can fold that down, and some of your garage doors that may be able to fit that thing in as well. But that thing sits really high, but that thing actually moves and folds down, which is really cool. If you get inside, we got power running boards, right? Makes it easier to get in and out. Shelby floor mats. Take a look at this interior, right? Alcantara leather interior, and it's got like a snake skin look to it. And all of our interiors also are FMVSS compliant, Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. So all your airbag deployments and things like that are still very well within standard, okay? So a lot of different things in here. It's also, they usually show, this one does, but this one says prototype, because that's what it is. It's really the first one. This will give you a unique Shelby serial number. So we match that to the Ford VIN number, and that way your investment is protected. So if somebody stole all the Shelby parts off of it and put it on their truck, we would know whether or not that was legitimately built at Shelby. So it's not only noted there, but under the hood, there's a few spots where you see that unique Shelby serial number, and it goes in the Shelby registry. Those things are very important. If you're gonna go out in the desert, you wanna run around, you gotta have this chase rack. And 2 spares. And if you look at these things, they're 37-inch KM3s. These are like bad boy tires. They run the Baja 1000, they use these tires. So this is the right tire for the truck. The other thing is, with 900 horses, I've seen this truck, may have driven the truck. It digs like deep holes in the desert, about this deep, for hundreds of yards. Just goes forever. And it's still spinning at like 95 miles an hour. So it's a lot of fun. So it also helps you dig things. Maybe you're gonna plant some corn or something. Yeah, maybe not. Anyway, but these racks that we have in the back now, we noticed before some of the racks we've looked at, they're not real sturdy if you actually take them off-road and you start bouncing up and down with tires that are over 100 pounds. These racks are very sturdy and designed to keep those spare tires in there.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
You can.
So, as I mentioned, this is a very historic moment, another vehicle introduction, and we're very lucky that we have Steve Davis, president of Barrett-Jackson here. Steve, would you like to come up and say a couple of words for us? Steve's been involved in a lot of great events and a lot of great vehicle introductions, and has a long history and personal friendship with Carroll Shelby.
Thanks, Scott. Just wanted to make a quick appearance to thank everybody for showing up. Gary and Shelby and the team that he's put together there, absolutely amazing what they do. Barrett-Jackson's honored to be the platform to have some of these amazing moments for the first time. Unveiling in Palm Beach was special, right, Gary?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was an amazing thing to see. And to see where this brand has gone is really amazing for me, particularly knowing all the people as long as I have and being around Carroll back in the day. It's really something to see. When you think it can't get any better, it gets better. Absolutely, 1,000 horsepower now is like, oh well. If we go north of that, the Code Red, we're actually selling a Code Red here at the auction today, or actually tomorrow, Saturday prime time. But anyway, thanks for being here. Barrett-Jackson appreciates all that you do and all that we've done together to keep the hobby alive. This is the next evolution of the Shelby adventure, and I am so honored and proud to be a part of the old adventure and the new adventure. So let's keep it going, and thanks for being at Barrett-Jackson. Have a great day. Going to be an incredible weekend coming up, and Shelby is the thing that motivates a lot of people to get into the hobby, the new cars, the old cars, the super cool new trucks. Rock on, Mr. Patterson.
Before you do, David.
Thank you, sir.
So as I mentioned, Steve's been very involved in a lot of vehicle introductions. If any of you have one of the GT500 Heritage Edition with that very special blue, every one of you needs to shake Steve's hand and say thank you, because he personally rallied Ford Motor Company to do that for that 1 year. That was very near and dear to his heart, and that color and that Heritage Edition only happened because of Steve Davis. You are part of Shelby history forever. Let's give Steve a big round of applause.
Yeah, thanks again, Steve. You know, our history with Barrett-Jackson, and you know, mine was Steve. I remember Steve coming out to our Speedway location like 25 years ago, and he was showing me cylinder heads in the back of a pickup truck. So I've known Steve for a long time, and before he was very involved with Barrett-Jackson. So, you know, we really appreciate that. He also bought one of our Super Snakes back in the 07-08 time period. And for those that may not realize, you know, Barrett-Jackson does a lot of charity stuff. And Steve actually let his Super Snake go a few years ago, right after the horrible shooting in Las Vegas, and donated $1 million from the sale of that car went to first responders. Okay? So keep those kind of things in mind. Oh, and by the way, Craig Jackson, you guys have heard of him. His name's kind of on the building. What do you think his daughter's named? Shelby, right? So this goes back a long way. So we got some other VIPs from Barrett-Jackson. Justine and Mike is here, right? And Ed. I spaced it right at the last minute. But we've also got some other guys here that represent Shelby. We've got Chris and Eric and Sienna and Sierra, sorry. And Lexi's here too, all right? But we've got other people here that represent the brand. But back to the truck, you know, it's a lot about people, but people designed this thing and we tested. Got a killer exhaust, and here in a minute, you're gonna hear it. Why don't we go up front? It's where the action is, right? Until the action turns to the rear tires. What we've got here is a 5.2 liter engine, and as I mentioned, it's over 900 horsepower pump gas. So we're going to get in this thing here in a second, custom Shelby hood, and we're going to fire it up. Anybody want to hear it start? Oh yeah! Oh yeah! What do you guys think, huh? Yeah! Rock and roll. Wow. All right, we're going to be around here. We've got the sales team here, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you might have throughout the day and throughout the weekend. So,
hello everyone, I'm Derek Shaky with the Collector Car Network, and I'm here at one of the Barrett-Jackson auctions with a very significant figure in the industry. I am with Gary Patterson, president of Shelby American, and he's brought out a very interesting vehicle, the Shelby F-150 Baja Raptor. This is their version of the Raptor R, so that means the supercharged V8, but of course in the Shelby way with extra performance. So Gary, could you just give our viewers a little bit of the background on this truck and what you all have done with it?
yeah, so, you know, if we go back just a little bit, Carroll Shelby got interested in performance trucks, even had a performance truck with Dodge back in 1989. They built 1,500 of those. We used to use one of them for a parts truck. We'd run around and get parts. Since then, we've built trucks really since 2013. We did a Raptor version there, and that just kind of continues to evolve. So we've got this one here, but we've also got numerous ones over there. We've got a taller F-250 Super Baja. We've got a lowered version, single cab, crew cab, raised, lowered. So you got a lot of different flavors to choose from, depending on how you're going to use it, right? But this one's really designed, you could take this thing and pretty much do most anything you want with it. Go to the country club, really looks bad, you keep it all cleaned up, you could chase cows with it in the field. You know?
It sounds like you've done that personally.
I have done that personally out in Nebraska. It
okay.
It was a lot of fun. I have family out in Nebraska, and they've been great. And so they allow me to chase cattle there.
Oh, okay. So technically, you could use it as a work truck.
You can definitely use it as a work truck. So plug stuff into it. You can, but go out, change your pivots or whatever you got to do with a lot of the farming stuff that's out there. But it's very versatile. We also drive it in Michigan, where there's a lot of rough roads and potholes.
Oh yeah.
Right? Soaks it right up.
Oh, okay.
You know, Fox suspension and so forth. So, or out in the desert, like in Las Vegas, up by Valley of Fire where I live, we go out, we get sand, we get rocks, we get all kinds of different terrain, and you can go really fast.
Oh, okay.
You can dig holes with these big trucks back there, 37 inches, about that deep, about as long as you can see.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. Can you give us an exact speed you've gotten this up to?
Well, I don't know, because I was busy looking out the windshield, and so I didn't pay attention, but there might have been 3 digits on the speedometer.
Yeah, just maybe, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you, just as far as the testing of this, like, were there specific areas where you tested this or benchmarked it against the standard Raptor?
We didn't do a lot of benchmarking with the standard, but we did take it out, and we've run it in the desert, different types of things. We do hot weather testing, like for here. Haven't done a whole lot with cool weather testing yet, but we'll get there, right? So we're just coming out with this now, but we tested in all different kinds of terrain, whether it's deep sand, deep mud, rocks, crawling, different things, so you see what it's going to do well. Skid plates and stuff like that protects a lot of the underneath, these big bumpers. And then you got these lights and stuff like we were talking about earlier, the 30-inch light on the front, the 50-inch LED on the back, so you can really light up things, you know, when you're out and about. And then these are LEDs too, the big 10-inchers up front, but that you can use those on the highway. You got to reserve the off-road for the rest of the lighting system.
Yeah, that's when you bring out the big firepower.
Right,
yeah, off-road.
You gotta light that thing up.
Now, you said earlier that the over 900 is a conservative number. Now, I'm not going to ask you for the specific number, but as far as the reveal date for that, do you have like a ballpark range of dates for when you'll release that?
Really, we're going to just leave it at 900 plus. And really what that boils down to is that's a conservative number. Depending on, you know, the type of fuel you have, whether it's 91, 93. If you did want to take it and put E85 in it, you can't when it's stock. But if you ever wanted to make that change on your own, you know, then the sky's the limit. You can have well over 1,000 horses, real simple.
Oh,
so,
okay.
and it's all right there, and it's easy to do. But, you know, we want to make sure that whatever we put out there is regular pump gas, 50 state emissions legal. That's what we sell. So.
Now, do you all have plans to offer any sort of driver clinics for people that are getting these trucks so that they know how to handle them?
I wish we had the time and the facilities to do that, but we really don't. So that's not part of the plan just yet. But we invite people out. We have an annual Shelby event every year, and we invite the enthusiasts out. They sign up for it, and there's a lot of different activities. And for our vehicles, you can run cars on racetrack if that's what you want. We may have an off-road course for some of these where you can test those with some instruction.
Oh,
but right
wonderful.
now, you know, as far as just coming out and having a class that you go to, you know, similar to like Ford has one for the GT500. Well, they used to. I think they do now for the Mach 1 or the Dark Horse, where you actually go to a road course, drive the car, and experience what that's like and so forth. So, you know, we haven't done that formally, but, you know, certainly we take a lot of people for rides and give them an idea what they are capable of.
Yeah. And so you all have been making Shelby versions of the Raptor for several years now. What would you say is like the most common reaction that people have to your trucks when they see them on the street or they drive them?
You know, I think it's pretty common. So whether it's the cars or the trucks, they're really amazed at how easy they are to live with on an everyday basis. but how shockingly fast and capable they are. You know, the acceleration, the braking, the cornering, and those kind of things. If they haven't experienced a new Shelby, you're in for a ride. So that's pretty badass.
All right, and I understand you all have the pricing for the Baja Raptor and then the R version,
Right.
And that they'll be available through select Ford and Tuscany dealers. The prices quoted don't include the base truck. Now, is it possible to get just a turnkey truck, or is it all a matter of, you know, sending you all the truck and having it converted?
Yeah, that's a great question, because we've done it both ways in the past. So your question is actually very good. So right now, for most, there are a few that we could do where you have the truck and you bring it in, and we'll figure out who's going to convert it, whether it's the guys at Fox in Indiana or whether we'll do something in Las Vegas. But for the most part, you will be able to go to one of those select Ford dealerships, and all of them don't carry it. There's very selected dealers that do. If you have a question, you can go to Shelby.com. We will help direct you to a dealer near you that does carry, you know, one that might be on the lot today with the color and everything that you want. So they haven't been shipped yet with this model. The other models, we're already shipping those back there. But for this model, this is the first prototype. But we are, you know, getting into production of these right now. So you will be able to go to those select dealerships, a little over 200 of those, and you can buy one of these pretty much turnkey. Now, there is a little difference between brown state and green state. If you have a brown state, we can deliver it just the way this truck is right here. If you happen to be in a green state, then we wait until somebody retail purchases the truck, okay? And once you do that, then we can add the performance upgrade after that. So it's all outfitted for that with the extra cooling system and things like that. But rather than disassemble the truck all again, we've got all that in there ready for the additional power. But until somebody retail buys it in a green state, we don't add the horsepower to the cars, whether it's the EcoBoost or the Raptor R.
So there's a way to it no matter what.
Yeah, but what we want to make sure we always do is we're following all the rules and we're compliant.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we don't want any problems for, you know, not only with the government, but from a customer service experience. We want to make sure that's good.
Yeah, I'm sure people will very much appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of that, I appreciate your time. Thank you
Derek,
very much, Gary.
Absolutely. It's always good to see you.
Yeah,
you know?
Same here.
Yeah. Who knows what's happening next, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just even more performance, right?
You know, we're looking out the windshield, not looking in the rearview mirror.
There you go. Right? Yeah, smart. Well, and I'd like to thank you all for watching. Thank you very much for tuning in, and stay tuned for more interesting vehicles and interviews.